Hi everyone, welcome to this week's FYB Rugby Round Table. We normally talk about the grassroots, but then when you get the opportunity to talk to one of rugby's top personalities, you're not going to say no, are you? So,
somebody else here.
Yeah, Ben K's here, yeah, and Ugo couldn't make it.
No, well, both Ben are in the garden doing my shrubs.
But we have got the 51 cap winning, 2 British Lions tours, has won everything with Leicester Tigers, and is one of the top pundits on BT Sport.
Not one of.
One of the best.
No, not one of. Just take the one of out the sentence, you'll be fine.
The best pundit on BT Sport. Austin Healey, how are you, sir?
Very good, thanks. Very good.
Good, thanks. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's go straight into it. Who can stop Exeter from retaining the title?
Oh, it's an easy one to start off with, isn't it? I think Wasps, will improve again. I think they were great last year after lockdown. And I think Sale will get their opportunity, provided they don't get any COVID cases. So it's I would have to say those two teams predominantly. Most people would say, well, why you haven't mentioned Bristol? And I think maybe they're just 1 or 2 signings away from being the finished article.
With their sort of injured and unavailable list that sort of did their rounds yesterday, it's hard to see them sort of beating anyone for the first few rounds, isn't it?
Whatever you
got
do,
a whole world first 15 unavailable.
Yeah, I think by the start of last season, or about, I think it was probably July or June before the start of last season, I said that Bristol might have a difficult year. That was before they signed Kyle Sinclair, every best player in the world, Max Malins, Ben Earl. They didn't sign these guys then. And I got absolutely hammered weekly when Bristol won a game against whoever, particularly if they beat Leicester, which they did. So I think they'll compete. I think they've got lots of injuries, which is against them. But for me, Sale, Wasps, and the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracker. You just mentioned your old team, Leicester Tigers. There, they've had issues in the last couple of years.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
No one's noticed. Is there light at the end of the tunnel?
No.
No. Could they be relegated?
Yes. I'm not opening up to more opinion on those two matters. It's as black and white as that.
Yeah.
This is Leicester's most difficult year in their whole history.
Do you think, now that Geordie Murphy's gone, is it now purely Steve Borthwick's team?
Yeah, well, I think when Borthwick agreed to take the job, he took it on terms that said he picked the team. I think what you should look for if you're a Leicester supporter is, if he starts to use the rhetoric around, this is the squad I inherited, these are players that weren't mine, tells you he's under pressure. Do I think he's the right man for the job? No, I don't think he's the right man for the job. I think he's been an assistant international coach. His club experience is limited to when he was a player. I think his mentality, he's a machine of a coach. You hear anyone talk about him, they say he's seriously impressive, but he's only got an on button. I don't think he's only got 6th gear. He doesn't pull back to 3rd or 2nd, or take a week off. And in the club game, you need to have a certain level of empathy that enables you to just let everyone chill out a little bit, because it can get quite intense. You can't stand up every Tuesday and beat the drum like you do at international level and say the same thing, because after 5 weeks, players sort of realise it's the same story. So you need to find, especially if you're losing, get off to Leicester's key this season is get off to a good start, keep some of their players, key players fit. They're going to lose their international players for big periods. So Ellis Genge, Ford, Young are gone for a big period. Their young, talented guys have got to stop being talented. They've got to now be proven.
Yeah,
it's no good anymore to just say, I'm happy to be in Leicester Tigers first team for Ben White. Ben White should be saying, I should be England's number 9. In fact, I'm the best scrum half in the world. And if you don't start thinking like that, you never become a great player.
Do you think actually having the sort of the back end of last season pretty quickly, and then this off season that we've had, the relatively short off season that they've had actually might work in their favour slightly, because they could have got plans in place. They could have they did a bit of trial and error in those 8 games and got it out of the way then, rather than starting this weekend.
Well, they didn't really, did they? I mean, they played a first team and then they played a second team, and the first team got beat and then the second team got hammered. So I think it's played against them. It won't give Borthwick enough time to implement his plan completely. So it's tough. You can't change a team with a 3-week off season. You can't rebuild confidence. There's still a hangover of how it ended for them last year. You know, losing to sides like London Irish at home, and Leicester should not be having these conversations, but they are. And you look at Newcastle, a side who probably most pundits will think are on a playing field to who gets relegated, if there is relegation.
Yeah.
That's another conversation, particularly if the Championship doesn't start. So I think it's tough. But you look at Newcastle, and they're a side that have not really changed that much from the side that we saw when they last were in the Premiership. They've had consistency, and they've had a long time to prepare. You know, they'll be fit as fiddles. They'll know exactly what their game plan looks like, and I think they'll be quite difficult to beat. And I'm sure Dean Richards, I know he's got a wry smile at the best of times. I've got a letter from him here actually on my wall, a disciplinary letter, which I'm to keep me happy. This is I'll show it you. This is a letter. There's a letter from Dino. It's a disciplinary letter. I'm not letting you read it. But that's from Dino. So, and I know he wouldn't find it great seeing Leicester relegated, but he'd have a little wry smile on his face.
So the two, if there is relegation, is the two major candidates Leicester and Newcastle? I
think Quins could end up in a bit of bother as well.
Really? Because again, this is apparently the first Fulham game in 11 years where there's no Quins player in the 23. So I'm a Quins fan, so I'm gonna back them a little bit this year, probably more so than last year.
I just think they're a side that could potentially be in the top 4.
Yeah,
top 6, not the top 4. They can't be in the top 4.
No, there's other teams so much far better ahead.
Could be 6th, 7th, or 8th. But equally, if they lose their first 2 or 3 games, they could be at the bottom. And if Leicester and Newcastle win theirs, and Worcester, then you're thinking, oh wow, there's an 8-point gap, and suddenly, is the Harlequin psyche strong enough to take that amount of pressure? I don't know if it is.
I know. We'll see. Touchwood, top 4. That'd be lovely. We haven't got time to sort of talk about every team, so I want to play a little game of word association, if that's all right, with the 14 teams, or 12 teams in the league.
14 next year.
14 next year. Yeah. So whether it's a player we should be looking out for, where they're going to finish, how well they're going to do or not do. We'll start with Bath.
Oh, word association for Bath. Is it just one word?
Or anything? Yeah, a word, a sentence, where they're going to finish, who they might play, who might be someone to look out for.
Oh, they lose all their internationals for a long period of time, don't they? Bath. Ben Spencer.
Cracking scrum half. Love it.
Easy. Yeah. Sorry, I'll try and be more entertaining with the rest of them. I've got 11 to get better.
Bristol Bears.
Injured.
Gloucester.
Underachievers.
Do you know what I was thinking? Exactly the same word. We just touched on them a minute ago. Harlequins.
Mysterious.
Leicester.
Broken.
London Irish.
Fun.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a good side this year.
So Gloucester game last year, I watched them. I thought, wow, the tempo 9 and 10, brilliant. If they can keep that going, who knows?
Yeah, I think and if they can keep Sean O'Brien fit, it'll just give him a bit of
or if he plays, you mean,
or if he plays, or Newcastle.
Surprising.
Okay. What do you make of the snotty leaving with a couple of days ago?
Has he? I didn't see that. Where was that?
He announced that he wasn't returning to the club for the season.
That's weird. Yeah, because he played, didn't he, against... Did he
played
play against Ealing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. Well,
it's a big shame. I think that he could have... he was one of their best players for the last time they were up.
Yeah, there's a lot of good young talent coming through in the Northeast as well. I think that the long period that they've had has enabled them to develop a number of their academy players.
Do you think
I think you'll see quite a few more of them come through?
Is it almost sort of the Argentina effect that they've had such a long layoff and then they could just burst onto the scene, pick 2 or 3 big wins up in the next couple of weeks? And
how fit are the players going to be? The players are just going to be like machines. It's like rolling out 15 Mark Wilsons.
And he's back for them this year, isn't he? After having sort of no game time at Sale.
Is he injured though? I think he's
injured. Yeah. Northampton Saints.
Northampton Saints. What could you say about them? Middle,
as in finishing 6th.
Middle. They'll be somewhere in the middle.
Sale Sharks.
Bosch.
Again, Wasps.
Lessons learned.
How close were they to winning it in the final? It was a great final.
One bad decision and a terrible line-out throw. I think they should have kicked that penalty.
Yeah, definitely.
And then see what happens.
Definitely. Worcester Warriors.
Unknown.
They're sort of the enigma this year. That they could be sort of top 6. They could be right at the bottom.
Yeah, they've been putting a lot of media out there, I've noticed. I mean, and also
sort of an enigma.
Yeah. Sad time as well. Cecil Duckworth, what an absolute legend that bloke was.
Absolutely.
A real rugby icon. He did a lot for the game. And he was so nice as well. Even from a Leicester player, he had loads of time for people. He was a great guy. So may rest in peace. But for Worcester as a team, I think you don't know. They put out so much media. There's loads of information about them. They look to have actually quite enjoyed the off season.
Yeah,
I know it's not been long. I think their pitch helps them, and they've got some real quality in that squad.
Definitely, absolutely. And finally, Exeter.
Well, they're just class, aren't they? If you were coming out of retirement, and I am considering it, and I was just,
we'll find you a club. Philly Boots will find you a club.
Which team? Who am I going to grace with my brilliance? I thought the Chiefs, and then I just have to make a decision which position in the back line I'm going to play.
Absolutely.
So it's I'll probably play 9 actually behind that pack, because then I will definitely get picked for England, and probably the World Cup. By which stage I should only just about have turned 50.
Well, why not? Why not? You're never too old. Just quickly, this is we talk about the grassroots of the game on this show. There's hundreds of clubs and thousands of players up and down the country who can't play and can't train. Do you have a message for them?
It'll come back. It's not easy. It's tough times, but rugby is not about every single Saturday. It'll still be there for you, and it's not necessarily always on the pitch. Yeah. Pick up the phone, talk to your old mates, have a pint or something over the internet, whichever channel you want to put it on, and stay connected.
Absolutely, couldn't put it better myself. So finally, last question. We ask everyone this: one fear and then one hope for this Gallagher Premiership season.
On fear, well, as an ex-Leicester player, my fear is that Leicester get relegated, and my hope is that they don't.
There you go. I think that's time. Thank you, Austin. That is absolutely superb.
Cheers, John.
BT Sport are broadcasting all of the Gallagher Premiership matches that are being played behind closed doors for this 2021 season, which is just brilliant. Means that there's rugby all weekend, every weekend. And it kicks off this Friday with the mighty Harlequins taking on the champions Exeter. 7:45 BT Sport 1 and BT Sport Ultimate. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you again next week. Cheers.